What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Dominic Peterson, host of the Duck Zone 503 podcast, where we talk all things Oregon football. If you're a first-time viewer, long-time viewer, welcome into the podcast. Kindly ask that you guys like, subscribe, and share the video if you enjoyed the content. Also, word of mouth, guys. Word of mouth is the biggest way to grow podcasts. No doubt, telling your friends and family about the #1 Oregon football podcast on YouTube, the Duck Zone 503 podcast, that is. Welcome in. So, date of this recording is January 18th, 2023. We had a lot of updates to get to that happened yesterday. So we had some guys coming back. We had an in-home visit to a special big-time prospect that Dan Lanning went and seen. He's going to be on an official visit here soon. So, big one to watch to wrap up the 2023 class. February 1st is signing day. Going to be big. Let's get into the news. So, yesterday, we had Dan Lanning, head coach of Oregon football, fly to Washington, D.C. to go see five-star athlete Nyckoles Harbor. February 1st, as I just said, signing day is vastly approaching for this 2023 class. Nyckoles Harbor, #1 listed athlete, still on the board for the Ducks, as Harbor has the Ducks listed in his top 5. Harbor is standing 6'5", 225 pounds, #1 listed athlete, #1 in DC, number 16th in the 2023 class, top 20 player in the class. Always a big time get, especially late here. Buzzer beater, clock's ticking. Dan Lanning is trying to hit home on this one. Harbor primarily plays the tight end position, perfect size, perfect weight, 225, 6'5". I mean, that's perfect for a tight end. He can play the edge rushing position as well, a great edge rusher. But no doubt we'll be looking to play tight end in college. Coming out of Archbishop Carroll out there in Washington, D.C., and, that's where Oregon Dan Lanning was seen at an in-home visit. Harbor is set also for an official visit in Eugene on January 27th, right before signing day. Really important to get those athletes on campus. Okay. The Ducks have pushed hard for Harbor as he put him in their top 5. So Harbor has Oregon, Maryland, South Carolina, USC, and Michigan as a top 5. Let's important to note here that his parents are Maryland alum. So Maryland and Oregon assumed to be the favorite. South Carolina is also in there because that's close to home. USC, always a big blue blood school. In Michigan, you could throw another big blue blood school in there. This is the thing about Nyckoles Harbor, which in my opinion makes him a favorite for him to go to Oregon for his college career. Okay, I get that his parents are Maryland alum. They probably want him to stay close to home. But for what Harbor wants, I think Oregon has everything for him and can provide for him. He intends to do track and field wherever he goes. Okay, he stated this in interviews. He wants to be an Olympic gold medalist. This is very possible at Oregon, as the Oregon Ducks, Hayward Field, Nike, we're known for track and field. I mean, this is Tracktown USA out here, and we create Olympic athletes out here. So that's one of the routes he wants to go. Now, going into recruiting mode as a coach and recruiting analyst here, you got to think, if he gets real serious about track and field, that you got to think about that as a head football coach, right? If he wants to, spend some time there, you might need to bring in other guys as well, just in case he decides to go track and field full time, especially if you're trying to be a gold medalist. I mean, you can't be really messing around with football. You got to be all in if that's your goal. And he's really talented at track and field. I mean, this guy runs a major fast 40 time. Go look at the highlights. I mean, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I mean, that's 6'5", 225. This guy can blaze it down the field. That's why he's going to be absolute electric tight end as well on the football field. No matter what he wants to do, very talented, just pure athlete on the field and on the track. No doubt. Now, tight ends, Cam McCormick and Maliti Makaval, have transferred. So could that be a sign that he is coming to Oregon? Who knows? McCormick, Mataval, they both got, fairly good amount of reps, good amount of play time for both those guys. I wouldn't call those major losses, but those are pretty key losses for the Ducks, and the Ducks are going to need to add some talent quick if they want to add to the depth. Okay. Now, this wouldn't be a major loss if Harbor was to commit anywhere else, in my opinion. We already have a proven starter in Terrence Ferguson. Where I do think it would hurt is the depth of the tight end position, because you got backups like Patrick Herbert, Tyler Nanny. I mean, both have not really played any significant time out here at Oregon. And I don't think that you really are really confident as that and as guys in your number 2 position at tight end. Now, even if Oregon was to bring in Harbor, though, I also think that they need to go look into the portal, just because you have Kenyon Sadiq, who's already committed in the 2023 class, already signed. And then you could also bring in Harbor, right? Terrence Ferguson's your number 1. But those are two freshmen. I mean, if you're Dan Lanning, how much do you trust 2 freshmen for significant playtime early on in their development? I get they're highly rated. Nyckoles Harbor's a 5-star, but it's not easy to just plug and play, especially at the college level. I mean, these guys need time to develop, need time to hit the weight room, need time to adjust to college just life. Okay, it's brand new for them. So I think you also, if you're able to sign Harbor, that's great. You got Harbor, Sadiq as 2 young guys. You got Terrence Ferguson as your number 1, and then you bring in a tight end that can be that number 2. The only thing is you look in the transfer portal right now, and there's not that many great quality tight ends. So you might just be looking at a reliable Nyckoles Harbor and then maybe a Kenyon Sadiq at your 3rd string. And then you got the 2 veterans back there, Patrick Herbert and Nanny, if you need those guys. That's how I kind of see it shaking out for next season early on. Preview for the tight end room. If Harbor was to come in, none of the doubt, 5-star Nyckoles Harbor. Dan Lanning just did an in-home visit with them. He's going to be on campus on the 27th. I mean, this tells me that the Oregon staff is all in on 5-star Nyckoles Harbor. And just given based off what he said in his interviews, the fact he wants to do track and field, I think he will be a Duck. I mean, I don't do crystal balls officially, but if I had to put one out there, that would be one for me. Nyckoles Harbor on signing day, February 1st. I think he'll be a Duck. I think he's going to be blown away by the track and field facilities. None of the doubt, Oregon's got crazy facilities with football. You're able to show those off last second right before signing day. It's fresh in his mind. And if the parents really want him to be successful, I think they're going to let him choose to go where he wants to be. Now, not all parents are like that. Peyton Bone. Peyton Bone. I'm just saying, but we'll see where he goes. Okay. So he'll be on campus January 27th. I'll try to get some intel from him after the visit personally, maybe try to get him on the channel if he's willing. All right. In other news, we had Oregon wide receiver Caleb Chapman transfers. Chapman put up 1 catch for 15 yards and 1 tackle while appearing in 9 games this season. The 6'5", 218-pound Chapman, who transferred to Oregon from Texas A&M this last offseason. This will be his 6th year with 1 year of eligibility remaining. Chapman was riddled with hamstring injuries while at Texas A&M. Never really got the opportunity to play at Oregon due to a very, very talented wide receiver room here at Oregon. Chapman is the 19th Oregon player to announce his intent to transfer since the regular season has ended, joining receivers Dante Thornton and Isaiah Brevard, running back Byron Cardwell Jr., quarterback Jay Butterfield, edge defenders Braden Swinson, Brandon Buckner, Jabril McNeil, and Jaden Navarrete, offensive lineman Bram Walden and Dawson Jaramillo, linebackers Jackson LeDuc and Justin Flo, tight end / outside linebackers Terrell Tillman, running back Sean Dollars, safety Jonathan Flo, tight ends Maliki Monteval and Cam McCormick, and last but not least, defensive tackle Keanu Williams. A bunch of players transferring out. I get it. Okay, Oregon fans, I understand that when you see that, especially older time Oregon fans who ain't really used to this, they go, wow, Dan Lanning, young guy losing his team, whole bunch of guys going out. I mean, I even have my dad saying, what's going on with the Oregon program? Well, everybody just take a breath. And let me remind you, this is the new age in college football. Okay, the transfer portal in total and all of college football had over 1,000 players enter it the first day. And I'm talking, we had not just backup guys like what we see really here at Oregon is guys that really didn't get the opportunity to play. But we're talking offensive lineman starters at Alabama entered the portal. I mean, these are just opportunities with NIL entering the deal here. I mean, if you're at Georgia, you just won your second national championship. Let's say you're third string guy and you haven't really played, but you got two natties under your belt. Well, you can go into the portal, and because you were on that championship team, you could probably get a nice spot somewhere to play. I mean, if you're a backup guy at Oregon, you can go to a lower level SEC school like Auburn. At the moment, Auburn usually pretty good, but at the moment, right now, they're pretty down, and go play there, right? And get an opportunity. It's just the new age of college football, okay? Whether you want a better opportunity for yourself, whether you want more playing time, whatever it may be, a better degree, the transfer portal is now there for college athletes to do it. Now, it's kind of the wild, wild west right now, which I personally don't like. I think there should be some oversight. But it is what it is right now. And Oregon is in the top 10 of having top 10 teams of having players transfer out. I think there's Texas A&M leads with over 30 players transferring out. We kind of seen that coming with their recruiting rankings last year. That was all NIL, but no doubt Oregon here we're talking about. This is the new age of college football. On top of that, you add in, these are all Mario Cristobal's guys, okay? All these players that are leaving, they were all primarily recruited by Mario Cristobal and their staff. Dan Lanning comes in, brings a whole new staff in. These guys try them out, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out with these guys, which is fine because then you can go look in the transfer portal some more. It opens up more scholarship opportunities, more room for you to revamp your roster and for Dan Lanning to get the guys that he wants for his defense. Okay. A lot of these guys might have been out of position. A lot of these guys might have not looked like they knew what they were doing on the field sometimes, because these were Mario Cristobal's guys, and they had the skill set for what Mario Cristobal's scheme wanted to do. Well, when you bring a new coach like Dan Lanning, new coach's whole new system, some of these guys, their play style does not fit what Dan Lanning wants to do. So a lot of these guys are gone. You can look at this positive, you can look at this negative. I like to look at it as a positive thing. The biggest loss to me would probably be Dante Thornton, as I think he's going to be a big time wide receiver this next year. I think he had the opportunity to start next season, no doubt. Other than that, most of these guys really did not show up on the field that much. And if they did, they didn't play that well, in my opinion. So other than Dante Thornton, best of luck to everybody else. Really. You know what I mean? And once a duck, always a duck, right? I mean, it's kind of hard with some of these guys because they never really seen the field. But guys like Dante Thornton, Byron Cardwell, Jay Butterfield, I mean, these are some fan favorites in that once a duck, always a duck. Sean Dollars, Justin Flo, right? Once a duck, always a duck. I wish best of luck to those guys. Now, Chapman's departure leaves Oregon with 92 projected scholarship players heading into 2023. Been saying it on this podcast all along. They need to get that number down to 85 by the fall. Okay. 85 is the cap if you want to play in games. So interesting to see. Transfer portal is going to close here in the next coming days. It will open back up after spring ball, and we'll start seeing more guys transfer out after spring ball. Also, shout out James Capia for that info. Got some of the info from him on his article from the Oregonian. All right, next piece of information. Steve Stevens announces his return for 2023. He will be returning for his final year of eligibility, 6th year. Stevens had a career high 43 tackles with 2 pass breakups and 13 games with 10 starts in 2022. He will be Oregon's number 3 returning tackler behind linebackers Jeff Bossa and safety Jamal Hill, who we'll get to in a second. Steve Stevens is Oregon's 2nd returning starter in the defensive backfield. We'll talk about the other returning starter here in a second. The 6-year senior is the 9th draft eligible player to return for a final season of eligibility at Oregon. He joins Bo Nix, Stephen Jones, Mace Funa, Brandon Dorless, Taki Tiamani, Popo Mave, Casey Rogers, and Hill. And getting to Hill, Jamal Hill announces his return for 2023 as well yesterday, returning for his 5th year of college football. Hill had a career high 50 tackles, 5th highest for the Ducks, with 3 pass breakups and a forced fumble in 13 games with 9 starts in 2022. He'll be Oregon's number 2 returning tackler behind linebacker Jeffrey Bossa. Again, shout out James Capia. He's the GOAT at the Oregonian for that source of info there. So Caleb Chapman is gone. Jamal Hill returns. Steve Steven returns. And Dan Lanning is pushing hard for that 5-star athlete, Nyckoles Harbor. One to watch as signing day approaches February 1st. Transfer portal is closing here in the next day or so. I think it's January 18th and 19th. I'm not sure the exact days. Either today or tomorrow, it's going to be closing. Won't be seeing transfers happening until after spring ball. So be interesting to watch. I'm here for it all, guys. As always, this is your host, Dominic Peterson, host of the Duck Zone 503 podcast. Kindly ask that you like, subscribe, and share the video. Most of all, tell your friends and family about the podcast. Appreciate you guys as always. I'll see you guys in the next podcast. Go Ducks. Yeah, buddy.